Hey everybody, this is Nisha Verma. I'm the speaker for today, and I'd like to thank Vijay. And yeah, would you like to say something, Vijay? I'm sorry, did I cut you?
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome, Nisha, for this wonderful topic. Happiness is a choice before it's for all. It's a potency that we have seen related to the happiness in everyone. This is the right time to talk about also during this topic. Let's start this topic.
Okay, thank you, Vijay. Your voice was breaking. I hope it was clear in the recording. But anyway, let me um, begin because there are some small sound issues, but that's fine. Yeah. Hey everybody. So just like Vijay said, today's topic is happiness is just a choice away. And I'd like to just, give a quick introduction to who I am and what I do. Uh, I'm from Hyderabad. I'm a access consciousness facilitator I teach bars, I teach body processes, I teach access facelift. And apart from that, I do a few other workshops of my own as well. And I do a lot of um, one-to-one consultations as well. Okay, so this is all under the platform of Yours Consciously that I have been, you know, I've been the founder for, and it's been on for the last 5 years since 2015. And it's been growing organically, and it's been a beautiful journey. Okay, so en route in this journey, I've learned a few things that you know kind of really helped me to choose more happiness and joy. And I'd like to share a few things with you um, that I have put together for today. I've put together 2 or 3 simple tools that we could all use in our daily lives, which would really change the energy of the upset or the worries or the doubts that we normally do have in our daily lives, which come which we kind of keep encountering in our daily lives. So if anybody has any questions, please do kind of keep them for a little later. I will definitely address all your questions. um, uh, you can put them in the chat box if you would like for now. Okay, so the first tool that I would like to share with you for today, which would really, really help you to choose more happiness in any situation, is to lower your expectations. What happens is that we define our happiness based on the utopian ideals that we put in front of ourselves. We put in front of ourselves huge expectations, and sometimes even unbelievably, you know the expectations are so unbelievably crazy that it's like almost putting an impossible task in front of ourselves and being really, really hard taskmasters onto ourselves. So if we lower our expectations, and is anybody needing to be muted? Okay. So yeah, so the first tip that I was just sharing about was to lower our expectations. Okay, and how do we do this, right? So there's a simple tool that we teach in Access, which is one of the first tools that we learn, and it's one of the brilliant ones too. It's called "Who Does It Belong To?" So when we have a huge expectation or an upset or a worry or a doubt in front of us, if we just look at that and we just ask a question there: who does this belong to? Is it actually even my thought, or is it just something that I've been perceiving about somebody else having that projection or an expectation out of me? So when we ask ourselves that simple question, we do come to the awareness or to the perception that, oh, is just someone else's expectations that we've been able to perceive. Wow, how interesting that they expect something like that from me. Great. Whether I want to choose it or not suddenly becomes a totally different way of looking at that. Okay. So that is one of the very, very simple and brilliant tools that we can use. The other one, which is one of the major ones, is to fire your inner critic. Okay, this is a huge one. It's a huge one, guys. I would love to talk about our inner critic. Okay, um, we have not one but 7 variations of inner critics within us, who we have kind of put in place in various phases of our lives, so as to kind of like probably originally just to motivate ourselves or whatever, but kind of sometimes their work is done, their job is done, but they still exist deep within our subconscious. And when it kind of stops giving us joy, and it stops motivating us also, it's time to fire them, guys. Just really, I mean, if the inner critic is kind of coming in between you and your happiness, and if we take a hard look at it and be like, okay, this inner critic, your job is done, go now, go away. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the 7 types of inner critic that we do have, and how easy it is to just look at these inner critics within us and observe them for a little bit. Okay, so this inner critic is not a single part of you. There can be a number of critical parts of us that we judge us with. We judge ourselves in different ways for different reasons. So while I've been studying about this inner critic, I've identified 7 types of inner critics that all of us are troubled by. One of the major ones, guys, is the perfectionist. Okay, so this inner critic of ours, the perfectionist, tries to get us to do things perfectly. It has very, very high standards for everything, for behavior, for performance, and for doing anything, for any task that we end up doing. Okay, so when we look at this part of us, where it's getting in our way, we could look at it with a little bit more observation and be like, okay, is this perfectionist inner critic working for us? Is it working for us, or are we becoming its slave? Okay, so when we look at it and like, okay, this one, is its job done now? Can we fire it from its job that we have given it? The perfectionist inner critic, is it time for it to go now? Okay, the second one, the second inner critic, is our inner controller. It tries to control impulsive behaviors that might not be good for us or for others, or sometimes even it can be a little dangerous, kind of it kind of starts controlling every bit of us. Okay, so this inner controller tells us what to do. It's almost like we are not in our own control anymore. Okay, so it's very insidious, guys. And we have to look at this inner controller, inner critic of ours, and look at it and ask, is it working for us anymore? Or again, are we becoming its slave? Okay, the third one is the taskmaster. This one tries to get us to work hard and to be disciplined in order to be successful or to avoid being mediocre. Okay, it makes us, yeah, it works for us. It works for us a lot. But we just have to look at where we are becoming under it and not being the powerful master of ourselves. Okay, the fourth one is the underminer. It tries to undermine our self-confidence and our self-esteem, so we won't be able to take risks that might be dangerous, or we won't be able to try and fail. Okay, so just so that we don't ever fail, we put this kind of inner critic in place so that we don't, you know, we never get rejected or we never get attacked. We probably put it in place during our teenage years, or probably like early teens or late teens, depending on our own childhood. We've, we've built our self-confidence based on not being able to fail or not looking like a failure or whatever. Okay, so that we are not attacked, we are not rejected in public. And so this one always tries to undermine ourselves. We try to stop ourselves from looking, from taking any kind of risk, okay, so that we don't fail. So this one sort of rules us, tells us what not to do so as to not get judged. Okay, so while we are trying to kind of protect ourselves from, each place where we could be judged, we try to judge ourselves before anybody else judges us. So this underminer undermines us all the time. Okay, so is it time for that one to go now, so that we can take risks and have fun, be happy? Doesn't matter even if anybody judges us. Who cares? Can we be us without any cares, without any kind of, walls between us and our happiness? Okay, so the fifth one is the destroyer. This one makes pervasive attacks on our fundamental self-worth. It always deeply shames us. It always believes that we even shouldn't exist. It always tells us that, we should kind of destroy ourselves. There's this small inner voice which kind of looks at us in a very destroying way. Okay, so this one is the one, when it becomes too strong, is when it kind of shames us so deeply, and when it gets too much power, then it kind of leads to suicides and stuff like that. Okay, so if this inner critic is really strong within you, you seriously need to look at it and fire it, guys. Okay, so the sixth one is the guilt tripper. It attacks us. It attacks us for some specific actions that we have taken or not taken in the past, or or whatever repeated behavior that we have been doing. And it kind of, it has no job, guys. It always takes us down the guilt trip. Whatever choice we make a good choice, we make a bad choice, we go down the guilt trip. Sometimes the only trips we take are guilt trips. So this is something that we need to seriously look at. Guilt is great. Guilt is amazing. It helps us to understand what we shouldn't have done or what is not working for us. But we look at it and then we stop doing it or change. But we don't have to suddenly be in the grip of this guilt. Okay, we have to take a hard look at this inner critic who always takes us on guilt trips. The last is what is called the molder. It tries to get us into fitting into a mold, to become a certain way, that comes from our family or a culture. Like, say for example, we believe that, oh, I belong to this family, so all the people of this family are going to always be this certain way. We kind of want to fit ourselves into the mold, whether we are that way or not. It could be just like maybe caring, aggressive, polite. Okay, if we've judged ourselves as trying to fit into the mold of our last name or our family culture or something like that, or our probably, we try to fit into different boxes, the country box, the Indian woman box, which is one of the favorite ones. We try to fit into many boxes. So we have to look at if we are falling into any mold or getting into the trap of the molder inner critic. Okay, it attacks us when it attacks us all the time when we are not fitting into the mold, and it praises us always when we are fitting into that mold. So take a hard look at these 7 inner critics, guys. And there's a small exercise that if you would like to do. Okay, you could name your inner critic. Okay, you could give it a name and then talk to your inner critic and tell it that you've become super powerful and great, and these inner critics within you are now irrelevant. and you're going to acknowledge the greatness of you and not the inner critic. Okay. And then fire it. Fire it from the jobs that you have hired this inner critic to do, and its jobs are done. They no longer are going to be of any help, and they're just going to be the blocks between you and your happiness. Okay. So you could write a small note to it and fire it. Write a letter, right? You could even be in gratitude for the inner critic. So it's helped you to become who you are now, but it no longer needs to be controlling you and telling you what to do all the time. So the perfectionist, I'm just listing them down: the perfectionist, the inner controller, the taskmaster, the underminer, the destroyer, the guilt tripper, and the molder. Name them, talk to them, and take back your power from them, guys. Okay? Take back your happiness from them and fire them. Okay? So I've given you one tool, which is who does it belong to? I've talked to you about the inner critic. And the third thing that I would love to talk about is do what makes you joyful, guys. Be authentic. Be you. Okay, step into the you truly be, not the version of you that probably is that you have become just so as to please other people. If you're a people pleaser, or if you're looking for approval and validation, these are the things that come between us and our happiness. That these are the ones which, like, if we truly take a hard look at what happiness truly means to us, what does happiness mean to you guys? What are the definitions of happiness that we have made for ourselves? And are we truly doing what makes us happy? Say, for example, we the only thing that truly makes us happy, for example, if someone says, is having $1 million. Okay, are you every day doing things, taking steps towards earning or getting those $1 million, or are you just kind of just saying it but not feeling it? Okay, so that's like a fake kind of goal that we've put in front of us and decided that we're going to feel happy once that goal is complete. But is that really our idea of happiness? Or are we just postponing our happiness or feeling happy with putting all these crazy, things in front of us, goals in front of us, and say we'll postpone our happiness for now, so that we can be happy when we have that $1 million, or we have that big house, or we have that XYZ goal. Okay. So in doing all these things, we end up ignoring our greatest strengths. We end up ignoring the true us. And that we end up divorcing bits and pieces of ourselves. And, we end up divorcing ourselves from ourselves in relation to all those goals that we've set, which even don't belong to us sometimes. They probably were some crazy goals that we saw someone else have, and we kind of were inspired by them at that moment, but it may not even belong to us. So that's where the tool comes in. Who does it belong to? Okay. So yeah, like, there was this amazing thing that Gary told me one day, and he said, um, he just gave me one look and he goes, just start. And I'm like, start? What are you saying? What do I start, Gary? And he just gives me that look. And I knew in that one look what he meant. He meant just start looking at myself, doing things for me, not doing things for others all the time. Energetically, sometimes you get what people tell you, and then you start taking steps towards you. That was where I began my relationship with myself. Being me made me come much, much closer to being happy. Okay. Being authentic, being the authentic me, not just the, version of me that I have decided I have to be to please others, or to be the perfect me, which others might end up liking or, appreciating, or being or probably approving. No, I don't give a damn anymore. I be me so that I can be happy from within. Okay. And there's one last thing that kind of really helped me to reach that space of who am I, and what would I like to be, and what are those um, expansive moments which are so light, so happy, and so close to who I truly am. Okay, and that is the expansion exercise that I would like to share with you. It's a 7 or an 8 minute exercise that I would love for you guys to experience, and post that we will you know, uh, open the floor for questions. Vijay, is it possible for you to play that audio for me? Hey, Vijay. Uh, okay. I really don't know how to play the video. Vijay, can you play the video for me? Audio, sorry. Uh, okay. Okay. Do you want me to start the questions until then and then do the expansion exercise? Okay, I think he's doing it. Cool. Hey, sorry, I was talking to myself. Thanks, Amir. So Shyla's question is, for me, happiness is all family members staying together and having fun. And I expect them to love each other and spend time for others like I am doing. In this journey, I've lost myself. How do I correct myself? I feel I've wasted my life forgetting myself and my life. Cool, Shyla. Thank you for your question. How are you? Do I see your face?
Yeah, yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Hey,
Nice
cool.
connecting to you.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Same here, Shyla. So, what I'd like to tell you about this interesting question is that um, so interesting choices that you've been making up until now. What new choices could we make now to choose more happiness in every 10 seconds?
okay.
Yeah. And
Yes.
everything that doesn't allow it can be destroyed and uncreated.
Okay, fine. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And also, you should ask yourself a question. If you have a definition of happiness and what happiness means to you, does
Yeah.
that necessarily have to be the idea of happiness that everybody on the planet has to have, or at
Yeah.
least in your
No.
house?
Yeah.
No,
No.
right?
No.
So if you're in allowance with all the other people's ideas of happiness too,
Yeah.
how much more space would that create for you and for the others?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when that space of allowance is there in the house, that everybody can have their fun in their way, okay, would that create more happiness, and that energy could
Yeah.
be
Yes.
almost like, probably infectious, like
Yeah.
spread the virus of happiness around. What
Yes.
would that
Yes.
be like? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But the problem is the present day everyone is glued to their gadgets. That is their happiness.
Cool. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So is that the problem? it's
Yeah. But
actually it's actually so wonderful that everybody's glued to their gadgets so that you can have your fun.
yeah.
you know
Yeah.
what the real problem is? We are so addicted to looking for the problem in anything.
Yes.
When we have like a bunch of amazing roses, okay, we end up looking for that one little thing that's wrong in there. Okay, the problem is our favorite dialogue.
Yeah. Got you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's focus
Thank you.
on all the happiness that we could create, even if they are in these 10 seconds. you know
Yeah.
we have we have all the doubts, all the upsets, all the worries, all the problems, either that belong to the past or they belong to the future. But in these 10 seconds, we are completely happy. We're
Yes.
completely,
Yes.
amazingly, no problem. But we
Yeah.
don't look at that. We want to focus on all the problems, doubts, worries, upsets, issues, whatever possible, and look for them. We literally dig for them, and then we
Yes.
find them, and then we,
Yes.
highlight them.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. Thank you.
Yeah. So what if
That
we
was
fire
good.
that inner critic of ours, which makes us do that all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine.
Fire
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you,
Thank
Shyla.
you. Thank you, Nisha. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any other questions?
Hi, Nisha.
Hi. Hi, Rajeshwari.
Yeah, I had a question.
Yeah.
Like, if I make a choice, if certain circumstances or situations arise where
Okay.
you really can't choose happiness, what do you do then?
The situation arises where you can't choose happiness.
Yeah, as in you're trying your best to be happy,
Okay. Okay.
but life is just going on throwing problems at you. What do
Okay.
you
So what are we focusing on right now? What are we focusing on?
I want to focus on the happiness, but
Okay.
if
So
it's
is
like
the
a TV
problem in the past or in the future? Or is it right now in these 10 seconds?
situation, there's a problem arising. Even when I'm not looking for a problem, like
Mm-hmm.
something goes wrong.
Okay. So is there, so when there is a problem, is this problem happening in these 10 seconds?
Not right now, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, like
So it's
in a day.
either in the past or in the future, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what if we choose happiness for the every 10 seconds that there is no problem that is going on right now?
Yeah, that's true. But how do I let go of the problem that happened like maybe 10 minutes before?
Okay. So
Unless
if
I
there
let,
was if
I
there
make,
was an upset, or a fight that happened 10 minutes ago, are you still in reaction to that?
yes.
Okay. So is that working for you?
No.
Okay. So can you make a different choice here?
Yes, it's possible, but it's different.
It's possible because up until now, you've been choosing upset. Yes?
Yes.
So it hasn't clearly worked. So what new choice can we make here that would change that? Can we ask that question? And we can also ask a lovely, simple question. Who does this belong to? Is this upset that you're feeling or experiencing right now? Is this upset truly what you are feeling? Or is it that you're perceiving someone else's upset right now?
It's what I am thinking.
Okay. So I'm sure you've heard that 99%, 98% of all the thoughts, feelings, and emotions do not belong to us.
Yes, but I'm yet to experience that.
Okay. That's because you have attached yourself so strongly to those feelings, thoughts, and emotions, and you're not willing to go. Have you done the expansion exercise ever, Rajeshwari?
I believe, yeah, we connect to the earth energy and then we
Yes.
basically,
I will do it with you. I'm sorry about the audio not playing, but I'm going to do it with you guys and make you experience a small little expansion exercise. Um, probably you will be able to experience what is an expansion exercise, which we could choose in that 10 seconds or in that 1 minute that we feel the heat of the moment. And when we do that expansion, suddenly our energy shifts and we're suddenly not we are not victim to that circumstances anymore. We suddenly pull ourselves out from the victim mode and we become the all powerful expansive person that we truly be. Okay, once we do that, it's a brilliant way to simply disconnect from the upset. it's
okay.
it's as simple as that. And yeah, I mean, in the first few times that we end up using it, we forget to use it, or we kind of don't feel like using it or whatever. But every time that you do use it, you end up feeling better. So you know now that you have a choice. You can use the expansion exercise, and maybe first few times it'll take you longer, but after that it becomes a choice, and then you can just expand. That's easy because we are truly infinite beings, and we've learned to do this millions of times. It's just that we need to empower ourselves to know what we already know. We need to kind of remember, revise what we've already learned so many lifetimes ago, maybe. Okay, try the expansion and see if it works for you. I'm sure it will. I'm sure. Okay. And yeah, it's just a choice away. If we choose it, we can choose happiness. If we suddenly hysterically start laughing, it changes the energy of the entire thing. I remember one thing that my husband used to do. Okay, every time I used to start an argument with him. Okay, so he would be like, okay, seems like you need to, you want to have a fight now. Shall we bring our boxing gloves out? Let's get into gear and do it properly if we have to. Let's not do it half measures today. And I would just start laughing. And then, it would be the end of conversation. I would realize that I'm so interested in fighting. I'm so committed to fighting in that moment. And then the moment I'm like, oh, really? Am I? And I'm like, no, forget it. It's not worth it. So we just laughed it off. Okay, it wasn't like we've never had fights. I'm sure we've all had our upsets and our, moments of anger or upset or whatever. But when we go down that spiral and then we know how to come out of it, we don't linger around there for long enough. We find our way and come back up. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Cool. Yeah. Anyone else? Any more questions?
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, Nisha. Sharad here from Nagpur.
Hi, Sharad.
I do a couple of things. I'm of course into Access Bar, so I know
Okay.
Vijay for quite some time now. Now, I think your presentation was wonderful because I attend Zoom sessions every day with Vijay's group.
Oh,
And
thank you.
so I don't want to pass any judgments, but your presentation was really wonderful.
Thank you so much.
I loved it. One question I have here is, I'm also into Dr. Batch flower remedies. I'm sure some of you are aware of it.
Right.
Exactly, these are the same things we sometimes, give medicines to ourselves or to patients. Okay, we don't call them patients, we call them clients, whatever you call them. They may have some such conditions, like people are so much trying to be perfectionists. I will just take one example, that it drives them mad and gets them actually physically sick in some sense or the other.
Correct.
You mentioned the perfectionist as one of the agents. I forget the name. What the terms you use for these guys to distract you? All
the inner critic.
Inner critic.
The inner critic.
Correct.
Yes.
So, for example, perfectionist is one of the very strong inner critics for a lot of people. Correct. Now, in batch flower remedies, when this happens, that the client is bothered so much that he has moved from that stage of just being an inner critic to a kind of patient who needs actually some treatment, what we think. That may be my judgment. Now, what you said is you made it so look cool actually that you can just dismiss them from their jobs, that I don't need you from tomorrow. So maybe easy in some case, but maybe very difficult, or that person has really gone deep into that shit, so you need something more. Now, the question is, okay, one can always try the simple technique of access, just to, guys, you get lost from here. I don't want you anymore.
Yeah.
If it works very well. So how do you actually work out, okay, that this can be done, or then we go to the next threshold of something else? I'm not saying, I'm not trying to promote batch remedies. Of course, it doesn't belong to me as such. So just some response on that I need from you.
So, everywhere we give our power away, okay, is where we divorce a small bit of ourselves from ourselves, okay? It's like cutting small pieces of ourselves and giving it away, kind of a thing. When we reach a point of no return, where we reach a point where we cannot take it anymore, is when we, start going into depression or start looking for solutions or whatever, right? We start externalizing it. So even over here, when we put the power into a backflower remedy or a doctor or a psychiatrist or a counselor or a life coach or whoever, right? We look for external sources to help us, okay? It could be anything. If that one thing that we look for is able to turn us inward again, like, okay, we give our power that, okay, I'm not able to take care of this problem. Can you take care of it for me for some time? Okay. So we take the medicine every day, believing that we're going to get better. This problem is now over. So what we're doing is we're kind of, with that intention, we are actually believing that it's over now. That's it. And then it works. It works for some. It doesn't work for some. For the logical people, it doesn't work. For the irrational people, it works. There's this amazing book. It's called, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, which talks about how the more complicated it is, the more confusing it is, the easier we are able to heal. Because it kind of bypasses our logical mind and we actually get into the true power of healing that lies within us. The true, every time we turn outward for help, it may or may not help us, but sometimes the moment we turn inward is when the true healing happens. So we as healers or as coaches or as whatever you may call us, ultimately, along with the dawa or the medicine that we give them, sometimes we talk to them as well. And sometimes that heals them more than the medicine itself, or the belief that that problem will be taken care of starts their inner healing process, which is beautiful. I mean, D- does that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Right. So, yeah, so I will do a quick expansion exercise with you guys. Is there anyone else who has a question before that?
Hi, Nisha. This is Rajani here. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, Rajani, you are. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. Tell me, Rajani, what's your question?
Since a few months, I'm facing sleep issues, and every day I'm sleeping very late, like 3 a.m. or 5 a.m. And despite of that, I get up on time by 7:15 a.m. Even if a
Okay.
single day I get up late, then I feel and I wake up with that feeling in the morning time that, oh my god, the day has gone already, the day is wasted, this kind of thing. And this takes my energy very to a very low stage. So what
Okay.
is it and how to help it? And it actually happens when I wake up with that feeling that the entire day I'm not able to control it. There is a some kind of negative emotions, or the energy level is very low, anxiety, or
Okay.
like time is running and I spoil the day. So how to help and how to control it, or how to be happy in that situation, how to talk with my mind at that time.
Okay. So, Rajni, there's a very simple thing that I would like to ask you a question about. Are you honoring your body?
Mm.
No.
Uh, I don't think I'm honoring my body.
So, with giving it 2 to 3 hours of rest or whatever, is your body asking you for more rest? Is that what is happening? Can you
No,
look
my
at your, okay?
the only thing is I have somewhere made it that I want to sleep early, and every day I
Okay.
feel I have decided that today I will sleep early, but I can't sleep early before three,
Okay.
2. I can't sleep.
So, how many of all these thoughts, feelings, and emotions that you are talking about right now, you've been using a lot of feel, okay, in your question? How many of these feelings are yours? How many of these feelings are something that you're actually perceiving of all the other people around you? Okay, it may not be just the people in your house, okay? Let me warn you. Some of us are humanoids who have, these kind of radars which go 80 meters, 800 meters, 8,000 meters, okay? So you're going to be able to perceive the sleep, the energy level, the anger, the irritation of all the people around us or of around you. Take a look at it. I mean, when you're feeling that, what you're feeling, if you're feeling irritated, you're feeling sleepy, you're feeling tired, you're feeling, whatever you're feeling, okay, who does this feeling really belong to? Is it even yours? So that, there is this one thing that I would like to share with you, Rajni, okay? This actually happened to me after doing years of access, okay? Recently, every day I would start feeling sleepy at 11 a.m. In spite of me getting up at 7 a.m. by or 8 a.m. and having a good night's sleep, I would start feeling sleepy at 11 a.m. And I was confused, like, why am I feeling sleepy at 11? Like, what is this? Every day at 11, I feel like taking a nap. That's strange. After I had like a huge cup of coffee, I shouldn't be feeling sleepy. And I didn't ask myself a question there, right? Like, I'm feeling sleepy. And then I go and lie down and I can't sleep. I just lie down. Then suddenly, one day, my cook didn't show up. Okay. This is like before the lockdown. So my cook didn't show up. And that day, I didn't feel sleepy at all. And that made me wonder, why am I not feeling sleepy today? What's different about today? And I realized that every day when the cook walked in, she was sleepy and I could perceive her sleep. I could perceive her tiredness, and I would feel like going and lying down. And the next day, as soon as I started feeling sleepy at 11, I asked, has my cook come? And they would be like, yeah, but she just entered. How did you know? And I realized that my body was giving me a message every time that she walked in, that that energy is present in the house. That was my body's way of just telling me, giving me information. And I was mistaking it as sleep. And that changed me so much. I now even ask a question to what I start feeling, even if I'm feeling sleepy, if I'm feeling tired, if I'm feeling irritated for no reason, if I'm feeling um, suddenly out of the blue I start feeling something weird, I ask a question: who does it belong to? And then I change it, because it's not mine. Suddenly I get the awareness, it's totally light. It's totally light when I return to sender. So yeah. Did that answer your question, Rajani?
Yes, I would be doing that on a regular basis. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. So I'm going to just quickly begin the expansion exercise. I'm just going to do a small variation of it, maybe 5 minutes. Okay. So close your eyes, everybody. Close your eyes and feel the outer edges of your body. Keep your logical mind out for some time and allow the infinite being within you to expand along with me. Close your eyes, feel the outer edges of your body, like feel the hair on your, the edges of your hair on your body. And from that space, just expand yourself into the size of this entire room that you're in. Do not logic it. If you would like to, you can visualize a glowing light increasing its light, the way the light spreads around. Just, you can imagine that. You can imagine a balloon blowing up. You can imagine whatever you like if you are a visual person. Else, just be. Okay? Expand yourself into the entire size of this room. The entire room. All the four corners, the ceiling, the floor, the four walls. Allow yourself to occupy each and every molecule in this entire room. Now, expand yourself to the size of this entire building that you're in. Allow yourself to expand even more to the size of this entire city. Expand yourself in all directions, including inside the earth. Expand yourself even beyond all the oceans, all the boundaries of this planet, beyond this planet, beyond this solar system, beyond this galaxy. Expand yourself completely. Energetically, expand yourself beyond the outer atmosphere, beyond time, beyond dimensions, beyond reality, and beyond matter. Expand beyond your imagination because your imagination is limited. It only knows what you've already done. Expand beyond your logical mind. And when you feel that you've expanded completely, allow yourself to expand just a little more than that. A little more than you've ever allowed yourself to expand. Tap into all the places that you could have chosen happiness but didn't, and allow yourself to choose you. Allow yourself to choose joy from that expanded state. Just choose happiness. Just choose to be you. It's easy. Expand even more. Energetically become one with everything, with nature, with every molecule. And from that space of expansion, pull the energy of happiness from the entire universe. And then send trickles of that energy to go to all the other people who are looking for happiness and make this happiness energy multiply. Let it go. Let a few trickles of this happiness go to people who are looking for it and don't even know it. Expand and just be the infinite being that you truly be. And when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. How was it for you guys?
Very peaceful.
Yay.
That was really great. Thank you.
Thank you, Asha.
Nice to see you guys.
Awesome, Rajeshwari. What about you, Rajani?
Feeling very light as if I have taken a tour of spaces.
Yay. Yeah, so we can do these expansions ourselves and feel awesome. It's just a choice, to expand ourselves. Use
Yeah,
it. It's a beautiful tool.
yes. Yes, feeling very light and like every cell of my body is just feeling happy, happy, happy.
Yay!
Yes.
Thank you, Pallavi. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed today's call. Thank you, Vijay. Where's Vijay?
So I have a quick question.
I had a, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Sure.
Um,
I'm here.
So this little this exercise you just did, or whatever we can call it, is this something we can do this even individually, this kind of visualization, right?
Yes.
What's your suggestion or thoughts on when it's useful, or when we should do this?
We can choose to be the infinite being we truly be at any given point of time. We could do this exercise to just understand, or to kind of, remember that we are truly infinite beings. Okay. And when we do this enough number of times, maybe once a day, twice a day, when you're in that angry moment, or when you're in that, when you're starting to fall into the victim mode, you could try it. You could just use it anytime. And then it becomes so natural that you end up being it when you choose it. When you can be the expanded version of you whenever you choose. We actually are infinite beings, and we love being this expansive space. Okay. Perhaps we be this space every day when we wake up, when we are in the theta space. Okay. But what happens is we end up getting caught up in the worries, in the problems, in the upsets, in whatever, in mundane life, and probably even picking up other people's, uh, you know, pains and feelings, emotions en route. So we end up becoming contracted because we forget that we are not being us, we're being them, we're being someone else, right? So this expanded state is something that is actually natural to us. So we should be it as much as possible, you know. So you can choose it any number of times a day. There's nothing, no prescription to this.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
Nisha, I had a question. Probably you didn't touch base on that today, but it's been there in my head since yesterday. When we do our clearings and we say I'm awareness, I'm control, I'm creativity, what does I'm control really mean?
So what does it mean to you?
I don't know. I mean, I wasn't able to really visualize that, or I wasn't really able to comprehend that as to
So
how do I
we
really
are not, like, basically we are not getting into the illusion of control. Control is a huge subject, really. It's huge, because control could mean different things to different people. Okay. Control could mean controlling yourself, controlling your emotions, controlling other
but
people, controlling
but
so many
but at the
things.
same time, when I say I'm an infinite being, why do I say I'm control then?
So in Access, the only time that Gary has used affirmations of any kind is once, where he says, all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. That's an affirmation, okay?
Yes,
That we kind of remind ourselves. The
yes.
other one is in the How to Become Money workbook, where you are trying to get um, out of all the points of view that we have about money, of what
Mm-hmm.
money means to us. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
we are claiming the power back from money that we have given money. Okay. So in that context, he talks about I am power, I am awareness, I am control.
Okay.
Yes. So that is a different subject altogether, where we are claiming back our power, which we've given away to other subjects or other
I mean,
things
yeah,
around
it
us.
just came to my mind because when we're talking about being infinite being and expand, and then
Yeah.
it came to my mind that when we're talking about infinite being, but how do we say that I'm controlled then? Because then I'm not being an
Yeah.
infinite being. Am I?
No, I'm glad you brought it up. I'm glad you brought it up. This is an Access webinar, and any questions are, I'm open to any questions. I've been in Access for 5 years. I've gone the length and breadth of all the classes that are there, apart from maybe the 7-day or the certified facilitators training. But I've enjoyed my journey, and I've kind of really enjoyed listening to all the calls and reading all the books and gaining all this information. So I'm
Wow.
open to any question, anytime you can reach
One more,
out.
one,
Yeah.
one more question I had when we were talking just now, when you said that when we look for outward solutions, it could be a doctor or a healer or anybody. Rather than that, when we look inside, and I was feeling that in like there was another question that just suddenly came up to my mind, that sometimes, for example, we hire a cook. Just a little example in our daily life. Is it that we are looking for support from outside, that we should be looking inside, or is that also, does it also mean that we look for support outside in that context
No,
also?
no, because we're looking for who could contribute to our life to make it more ease, joy, and glory. Who could
Okay.
contribute to our lives? And when we look and hire anybody um, from that space of contribution, that who could contribute to me to make my life more joyful, more easy, more luxurious, more glorious, right? The kind of person which you would attract energetically would be
Mm,
someone who would truly be a contribution to you.
mhm,
Maybe not fitting into the perfect bill of who your truly, probably ideal cook looks like, but someone
mm,
who truly will be a contribution to you. It's a completely different energy.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It could
Thank.
be someone matching, but it could be someone totally crazily different too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Nisha. That was really
Thank you.
helpful to me. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Judy.
It was really wonderful, being on your webinar. It really opened up a lot for me. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so glad you guys chose it. I'm so happy for being here too. Any other questions?
If I would love to request Vijay and also you, Nisha, to have another session sometime. We have plenty of lockdown days still ahead of us. And we all need the energies from people like you
Oh,
to
thank you. I would
so
love that too. What would it take?
you that would be great, really. It was a
Yeah.
wonderful session. Wonderful
Yeah.
session. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, especially when you recap the 6 inner critics, that was really, really expansive and very, very, it took me into an inward journey that yes, we all have
Yeah. They become like a they become a small little part of us, which we've given way too much privileges. So it's like that guest who overstayed. So it needs to go now. you know
Yeah,
so
you
yeah.
feel as if all of them are present in us.
Yeah. And we've given way too much importance to maybe one of them, and that one has overtaken or kind of overpowered the poor little us that are, like the me that is there within, and overpowered by so many inner critics. It's annoying. Actually, I have a little letter that someone wrote to their inner critic. Would you like me to read that?
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So there are a couple of them, okay, but this one's my favorite. It says, she's named her later, but she's actually written about this. She says she is insidious. She is that space of sweet meanness that is so alluring, you cannot help but wonder if it's true. The seduction of wrongness to create the appearance as though I'm human, as though I'm real. The lie is that if I didn't have this illusion of realness, I wouldn't be able to connect and contribute to people anymore. This will separate from me. This part is true. This part I know. This is how she's so brilliant at deception. She laces truths within her lies. But the lie here is that the separation is a conclusion and a stopping point. And that separation is even real. People have either put me above them or below them, and then resent me either way. More lies with truths. In a weird way, I bought that I loved her and admired her strength and brilliance because she has been the best at knocking me down. I don't actually fall easily. As I look at this now, have I truly ever fallen? I want to lie. I want to appear softer than I am. In claiming that she, that inner me that whispers insults at me, is now aware that I faked it, she never succeeded. And every time I fell, it was a lie. In this space of awareness that we are now, at this point of choice, Cassiopeia, you are fired. This is her letter to her inner critic, who she named Cassiopeia.
It's very, very touching, very amazing.
Just amazing it is. Just amazing.
Yeah, just amazing.
So you guys write a letter to your inner critic too, name it, and then fire it. Why naming is important is that we kind of recognize this other person within us who's...
As we call it, personification.
Yeah, we personify it and then claim back our power from it, talk to it, claim back your power from it, and then literally you could do it looking in the mirror and then fire it. It's so satisfying.
Yeah, actually in today's world.
Okay, our host has suddenly left, so I guess we need to leave too. I think the 1 hour mark is over, but we should meet again soon, guys. It was lovely having you over here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So who's the host now? We'll have to end the call. Who is the host now? Angela. I think Angela is the host now. Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.